being here, for supporting this walk to justice from the American Indian movement, but most importantly for supporting clemency for Leonard Peltier. So I just wanted to greet everybody and welcome you. Thank you for being here. I know it's a little chilly. And I wanted to introduce Talia. She's going to be our MC, introducing all of our speakers this evening. So again, thank you, and hope you enjoy.
Imanaja Mashikuna Nyuka Shutimi Talia Yanina, Ecuador, Otavalo, Jactamanda, Yupaichani. Hello everyone, my name is Talia Carol Cachimuel. I'm Ecuadorian, I'm from Otavalo, and I'm here on behalf of the International Leonard Peltier Defense Committee to say thank you for everyone for being here today. It's truly an honor. We're going to start off with an opening prayer and ceremony led by Fred DeCharlet and Mitch Walking Elk. Thank you.
Bujo ni jani shinabi duk wasumugin nini indiko makwa indu demo ga kaning indu nchuba nimi wendi ne ayan o ma nungam nin jaganashimum. So I'll speak a little in English. Fred DeCharlet's my name in English. Lightning Man's my name in Ojibwe. I'm from Red Lake, and I'm down here to support my relatives here in our goal. And I would like to open up in some words in Anishinaabe Mo and Anishinaabe language on behalf of our gathering, for everybody here, and for our common goal of for what we're gathering for. So I'll get right into it, and so miigwech for listening. Let me be here. Aha naganizid manito wasamo ginini indigo makwa indu demo ga kaning indu njba imi wendine ayano ma manito. Niwi kagwe chimagongo manito shai no mawat ka kinani shinabi duk dungam nimi ka chuenden de wegan minowani shinabe nakaman beo ma manito dagabasina kinani shinabe minowa wiru kawat ka kinani shinabi duk dungam niwi kagwe chimagongo shai no mawat ka kinani shinabi duk dungam banget go nenitani shinabe mjai nimishin niwi kagwe chimagongo dapanani sema kina manito goshko bewi sag udapanani sema nagani zid manito Ambeo ma wiru kawishin wiru kawa ga kinani shinabe duk nungam ambeo ma da gabzinin kina we kina ge go manito we ga chene we daso jik nembe metesi no o kijiga kigaye manito nemi ko chwenden mino bima desi we nungam mashkute o wawara ni shinabe duk nungam bin again manito bin again daga bsende kinani shinabe kina we kina ge go mi ko chene we daso jik nembe metesi no Kishigaki gae manito. Aha.
Can we please have a round of applause for this incredible calling of the ancestors? We must remember that Leonard's freedom is a global struggle for Indigenous people. We have a group here that honor their Mexican ancestors here before us. And this is so beautiful, having this offering of our collective visions of liberation that span beyond these so-called borders. So thank you so much. Thank you. Up to the stage, Lisa Belger, the Executive Director of the AIM Grand Governing Council.
Bonjour, miigwech, everybody. Bonjour. Me want to say thank you to, especially to the local Indigenous, our relatives from this area, for welcoming us here. We were fed and we were greeted in a traditional way. And as our group came in, we were honored by our relatives in the sky. But I just want to stand here and say that I am so happy that we are all here today, that so many of you have taken that time to come and to walk and to pray with us and to help us with this prayer to free our elder Leonard Peltier. And it's been a long journey. It's not just been the journey of however many weeks it took us to get here from Minneapolis. I grew up with the American, and I grew up going to trials. In high school, I went to Leonard's trial in Milwaukee. That's a long time because I'm pretty old. You know, and it's time that this country wakes up and they do the right thing. They need to let our elder go. They need to free our elder, Leonard Peltier. And growing up in AIM, you know, we've always stood by and stood strong for Leonard. And we're not going to give up. And you'll hear that in the speeches that are to come with our relatives, with his defense team from his family. So I just wanted to take a few minutes to say, miigwech for everyone for joining us in this prayer. Miigwech, free Peltier.
Thank you, Lisa, so much. Next, it is a privilege to introduce Madonna Thunderhawk. Woo! Give it up!
Hello, everyone. Can't even tell. Yeah, well, I know we're all freezing here, but thank you all for being here. And gee, I don't like this. It never works for me. Anyway, first of all, you know, it's been a long haul. You know, I stood with Leonard back in the day, you know, forged a bond and, you know, a few firefights, you know, with the U.S. government, but there's not too many Wounded Knee vets. But I want to thank all of you, because I think, you know, those of you that have the phones and the cameras and stuff, turn it around and get the whole out. Because you people are the ones, when this is over, you're going to go home and you're going to get those same phones going, and you're going to get your organizations and your councils and whoever, and you're going to get them to start calling in, because we can't let the pressure up between now and the time that hopefully Biden does his pardoning. So in between that time, we have to keep that pressure up. And I know it's really hard for us to gather because we got to come clear across the country. But our people back home, they know we're here. And with this new technology and this social media and stuff, they know we're here in different ones. And our YG here, our sister, you know, Marlene Corbear, she has her phone and she takes, you know, pictures and she does the videos and sends them home immediately. And so everybody knows that, you know, what's going on. So, you know, I'm just looking at all of you and I thank you for being here, because like I said, it's been many years, 46 years? And we do this every year, we continue hoping. But, you know, it's got to happen. Clemency's got to, you know, it's got to happen. So, again, you need to pat yourselves on the back, you know, for being here and doing this for Leonard. So thank you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate your work. To introduce Rachel Thunder, who's gonna share with us a little bit more about this beautiful spiritual journey that has come to an end here in Washington, D.C. Thank you.
Danse, Gananaskamoten, Upsees Nanahiwak, Upsees Rachel Thunder. I just said hello and thank you to each of you individually and to all of you collectively. I'm Plains Cree, Treaty 6, Nihio, name is Rachel Thunder. I'm the director for the American Indian Movement, the True People of Indiana and Kentucky, and I'm the lead organizer for the Walk to Justice. The Walk to Justice, you know, it just started on September the 1st in Minneapolis, Minnesota, 2.5 months ago. It's 1,103 miles, and we just completed this last mile today. We walked from that Washington Monument to right here where we're standing now, demanding and asking for clemency for our elder, for Elder Leonard Peltier, that it's time that they let him go. This walk, it really started, though, about 2 years ago. There were those of us in the movement that were having dreams about our elder, Leonard Peltier, that's been locked up for 47 years. He's the longest held Indigenous political prisoner held by the United States government. These dreams, they were coming to us, the women of the Grand Governing Council. And some of the dreams that I was having, I can speak on those. I would be in Leonard's prison cell with him. And he would be sitting on his bed with his face in his hands, and he wouldn't say anything. And I would say to him, "Don't worry, your people haven't forgotten about you. Don't worry, your people are coming to get you. Don't worry, AIM is coming to get you." So these dreams, they kept coming, right? And we took these dreams, we took them into prayer, and we took them into ceremony. And through those prayers and through those ceremonies, that's how it came in that we were to walk. That we were to walk as the American Indian Movement from the heart of the movement in Minneapolis, Minnesota to Washington, D.C., to these people that are here in these positions of influence and power to let our elder go. I've spent a lot of time these past weeks thinking about justice. This is the walk to justice, but what is justice? Justice, the definition of justice is just behavior and treatment. We marched to the Supreme Court the other day for the ICWA rally, for their opening arguments for the Indian Child Welfare Act. And I saw there on the top of the Supreme Court, it said equal justice under law. Under their law. Our people follow natural law. Our people have been following natural law for thousands of years. Our people have been here since the beginning of time. This law, the system that they oppress on us, has only been here for 530 years. To me, justice embodies honor. To me, justice embodies integrity. To me, justice embodies fairness. But I ask you, and I ask the system, where is the honor in taking our children? Where is the integrity of protecting our women and our elders? Our missing, murdered Indigenous women and people? Where is the fairness when we're above 38% of the national average for incarceration rates? So where's the justice? That's why we called this walk the walk to justice, because of course we're asking for justice for our elder. But we're asking for justice for our people. Because just like in those dreams I was having where I was in Leonard's prison cell with him, there's a piece of every single one of us that is still in that prison cell with him as long as he's still held. This walk, it's a prayer and it's a ceremony, and that's how we've treated it the entire time. We've stayed grounded in that way. This walk, we did it in that way, in that traditional way, to carry this prayer here, and we suffered for it. It's not easy. It's not easy to walk 1,103 miles. It's not easily mentally or spiritually or physically or emotionally. But that suffering doesn't compare at all to the suffering that Leonard Peltier has endured for 47 years. That suffering doesn't compare at all to what the family has been through. His children, his grandchildren, his great-grandchildren. And that's what we're here asking for. Yeah, we're asking for clemency. We're asking for him to be able to be with his people, to go to ceremony, to hear the drum, to walk free on our Mother Earth, to be able to hold his children and his grandchildren, his great-grandchildren that he's never met. That's what we're asking as the American Indian movement. What is AIM? What is the American Indian movement? To me, the American Indian movement has existed far longer than 1968. The American Indian movement has existed since these settlers, these colonizers, that way of thinking, that way of oppression arrived on these shores over 530 years ago. AIM has always been here to help fight colonization. Thinking a lot about the past and present. Was thinking a lot about the words of Russ Means and Dennis Banks and Clyde Belcourt and John Trudell. Listening to their words and their speeches and just how relevant they were then and now. How Leonard was locked up then and now. And so a part of this walk has been bringing together that past and this present. To ignite that fire in the people and the communities, to ask for our elder to be released. I've never been here to Washington, D.C. This is my first time here. This system, this place that I've always heard so much about. And honestly, when we walked to the Supreme Court and I saw the Capitol, this system is fragile. This is nothing. This is a facade that they create with their propaganda and their misinformation and this image that they create of this power that they have. The real power is this land. And the real power is in the indigenous people of this land. So we carried this prayer here, and I want to, acknowledge all of those walkers and those runners that were a part of this prayer. The way that they carried this so honorably and respectfully and humbly. And so we want to take the time to ask anybody that was a part of walking or running that they come here and they stand here on these steps. We're going to honor them now. So I'm calling on those walkers and those runners to come here and the Eagle staffs to come down. Until Leonard Peltier is free, none of us are free. AIM is coming for you, Leonard. Your people are coming for you, Leonard. Get down there on the steps. Get down. Make room for the walkers down there. AIM forever, forever AIM.
Next up, we have Nick Essie, who will be joining us to speak about Leonard Peltier.
I just want to say it's a really beautiful day to be here in Piscataway land, on indigenous land. We're here not to just beg for Leonard Peltier. They think that we come to Washington, D.C., to a place that's named after a man that Haudenosaunee people call Town Destroyer, to beg. But they have it wrong. We're here to tell you what is right. People who speak truth do not beg power. They speak truth to power. And all of you, we are power. Not these monuments to white supremacy. Not this monument to a genocider who killed Dakota people. We started this walk in Minneapolis in November of 1972. The Trail of Broken Treaties came to Washington, D.C. to meet with the president with a position paper with 22 points for treaty rights, for health care, to protect children. And they were rebuffed by the Nixon administration, who cared more about waging a war in Vietnam than he cared about the people here, the original indigenous people here in this country. And so they took over the Bureau of Indian Affairs when the president refused to meet with them. And they occupied the building for about a week. And in that building they found the evidence of the crime, of the mismanagement of millions of dollars in lease money for Indian land, for all the children that had been taken from their families, the mismanagement of the Indian health services, all these things that are protected not just by treaties, but by the Constitution, a document that was written before the treaties, that's much older than our treaties, where it says that treaties are the supreme law of the land, Article 6. And in those documents, they found the mismanagement, the centuries of mismanagement by the Bureau of Indian Affairs. The Trail of Broken Treaties Manifesto also became the framework for the UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People. It launched the international indigenous movement at the United Nations. That began here 50 years ago today. Ask yourself why they venerate a genocider and why they don't venerate our heroes of indigenous resistance. Leonard Peltier was part of the Trail of Broken Treaties. He was in what they called the Native American Embassy 50 years ago today. They didn't have guns. They didn't have anything. All they had was their prayer and their truth. But they were evicted, and then began the surveillance by the FBI. So when we talk about the American Indian movement, the Red Power movement, the Trail of Broken Treaties, that history is still relevant today. Leonard Peltier was taken from his family by Indian agents and put into a boarding school. The Indian Child Welfare Act, at the time it was passed in 1978, was meant to protect Native children, to reverse the process of Indian child removal. And in their findings in congressional hearings here, where we're at, they found that anywhere between 25% to 35% of Native children during that time when that bill was passed have been adopted out to white families or foster care systems. Imagine a quarter of our people have been adopted out, taken from their families. And now we have 9 unelected judges trying to adjudicate what that means, what indigenous sovereignty means. In some ways, this system is moving backwards as we, as indigenous people, are trying to move forwards. Standing Rock was a turning point for us. We have one of our good relatives, a water protector here, who can speak to that. Even when we don't take up guns, even when we stand in prayer, we're still considered criminals. Much like our Dakota patriots who this man killed. We're still considered criminals to this day. Because a report found last year that a quarter of carbon emissions and greenhouse gas emissions coming from the United States and Canada were being challenged by indigenous-led movements. We are punching way above our weight class when it comes to being good ancestors for future generations and preventing climate change. They don't care about Native children. They don't care about indigenous rights. What they care about is their bottom line, which is money. The lawyers who are arguing that case to overturn the Indian Child Welfare Act, they're from the Gibson Dunn law firm, which represents oil companies. How many pieces of legislation have gone through state legislators to criminalize being a water protector? How many times have we sat before lawyers sitting on the other side saying, did you witness a violent act when you were at Standing Rock? Did you participate in direct action? Are you a water protector? Hell yeah, I'm a water protector. But they want us to be ashamed of that history. They want us to be ashamed of Leonard Peltier. They want Leonard Peltier, our history as indigenous people is locked up with him right now. Obama was a coward for not letting him out. So too was Clinton. I was here in 2016. A lot of us were here in 2016. Leonard's son died here in 2016 trying to get his dad out of prison. Anything that happens, every single day that he sits in jail, the blood and the guilt is not on our hands. It's on Biden's hands. He could change this today with a phone call. It's gross and it's disgusting that we have to come here and explain this to people. But our truth is more powerful than their vanity, than their greed. And it's more powerful than their hate for us. Because we know that each one of you is going to go back and do more than just beg on the colonizer's shoulder and cry and ask for our land back. Stop taking our children. When has that ever worked? We have to fight back. We have to organize. We have to turn to each other. We have to create a new system from the ground up. One that reflects indigenous values. Because otherwise, we're not going to have an earth to live on. It's not a matter of becoming indigenous. It's not a matter of whether or not you think that our truth is the truth. Because tomorrow won't come if you don't listen to us today. We won't have a planet tomorrow if we keep doing what we're doing right now. And that's what Leonard Peltier represents. That's why he's a threat to this system. It's because they know once Leonard Peltier is free, as Rachel said, we're all going to be free. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Nick, for that insightful analysis and historical context, and to all the speakers who have brought in the most important message that we have today, which is justice for Leonard Peltier, clemency for Leonard Peltier. This is why we're here, why we're gathering, and all of these speakers speak so eloquently on this history, on this pain, on this suffering, and what we need to do and what we can do to actually make change. So thank you. And now it is my honor to introduce Mr. James Reynolds.
Thank you. I was the U.S. Attorney appointed by the President, confirmed by the Senate, whose job is set out in the federal Constitution, which is to represent the people of the United States in legal matters in my district. And I did that job, and I also, when I first took the job, they brought a case in which was brought before us and showed that the judge had said that not only do I represent the United States, but among the United States that I represent is Leonard, is the defendant. So when you're in a case, I have the same duty that I have to represent the people and do justice, is to see that justice is done for Leonard. So 30 years later, when I'm sitting at home in Florida, which is nicer than here, by the way, I heard Amy Goodman on Democracy Now! Say that Leonard had made an application for leniency and clemency. And without talking to anyone else, without being urged by anyone else, I felt it was my duty as the former United States Attorney to see that justice was done for Leonard. Because at this point, enough was enough. And so I wrote a letter to President Obama, joining with Leonard in asking for his clemency and the commutation of his sentence. I did that because I thought it was my duty for justice. Because justice in this case is compassion for Leonard. They're equal. And that's why I did what I did. That's why I'm here today, freezing in the cold weather, but well worth it because of the fact that what Leonard had done was not what I felt was such that 30 years later he should still be sitting in prison. And that's been 10 years ago, and it still hasn't improved any in the meantime. I've also written to President Trump and also to President Biden asking for this. And I think that it's my duty as the U.S. Attorney representing the people of the United States asking for justice and a justice for Leonard. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and thank you all for being here in the cold right now. This just goes to show how important it is to have people power and people mobilization like this, and it means a lot for all of us that y'all are here right now. Next, it is my pleasure to introduce Judge Kevin Sharp, who is Leonard Peltier's attorney. He's going to be speaking to the important facts of the case and providing an analysis on why we need clemency for Leonard Peltier now.
I'm standing here. I've listened to a lot of really great speakers, and I walked from the Washington Monument and came down with everyone and really felt intimidated by that, and even to some extent unworthy to be part of this struggle for Leonard that's been going on for decades. And I walked this space yesterday, and I've walked it today, and I stand here with the Lincoln Memorial behind me and the Washington Monument and the Capitol, and I feel humbled and intimidated about whether or not I have the words to express the gravity of this request and the importance of clemency for Leonard Peltier. And it occurred to me that what all of these things mean, what they all represent, are our Constitution. And this piece of paper, it's the only thing that stands between us and injustice. It's the only thing that stands between Leonard's death in a prison cell and freedom and justice. And all of this and everything that's happened today and listening to everyone reminds me that freedom is fragile. Rachel said that earlier. Freedom is fragile, and that's why we have this Constitution to protect us and to protect Leonard. And I've taken the oath to support and defend that Constitution multiple times. I did it when I joined the U.S. Navy. I did it when I became a lawyer. That after you pass your bar exam, in order to practice law, you stand in front of the justices of your Supreme Court, and you take an oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States. And then I was fortunate enough to be appointed and confirmed as a district court judge, as a federal court judge in the district court in Tennessee, and I took that oath again. And each time I took that oath, it reminded me of why we take that oath and the importance of that oath. And it stays with me. It's why I do what I do. And when I saw Leonard's case, and I'll tell you, I hadn't lived it like you have lived it. I came to this with fresh eyes and a clean slate. And I looked at this as a member of the federal judiciary. I had resigned by that time, but I looked at it with that mentality. And what happened was clear to me. The constitutional violations that occurred in order to convict this man were clear to me. That seemed easy, and I couldn't understand why we're still talking about this 43 years later. How are we talking about this? The violations are so open and so obvious. What I didn't understand, and what I've been coming to over the last 3.5 years, is the why. And I'm still peeling back the layers of that onion, but you've lived it, you understand the why. But it all takes me back to what has my life been, except in supporting this Constitution. And that's why Leonard's clemency is not just about Leonard. Leonard's clemency is critical for Leonard. He should be out. He never should have been in. But it's important to all of us because it's the only thing standing between us and injustice. It's all we've got. And so I took on that to do what little I could do in service to my country and in service to Leonard and in service to that Constitution. And I'm asking the President of the United States to do the same. He took that oath. I took that oath. He understands that oath. He needs to grant clemency to Leonard Peltier. And he needs to do that and say to the world, justice means something. Our Constitution means something. He needs to say to this community And it's not just about the Native American community, but it's an important message to the Native American community that you matter, that Leonard Peltier matters. And it also says back to all of us that we all matter, this country matters, this Constitution matters. Mr. President, grant clemency to Leonard Peltier. End this today. End this today. You have the absolute power. Sign the piece of paper. End this. So I thank all of you for taking the time to listen to me. I thank all of you for being here for Leonard and for being here for yourselves, for being here for this country. Thank you all for listening to me. I hope that I've added some small piece to this, but I'm not quitting, and I know there's no one out here that's quitting either. So thank you all. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you so much, Judge Sharp, for those words. And I just want to echo that we're not giving up, and that's why we're here. Because we aren't going to give up. We have elders here, we have children here, we have the intergenerational group of folks here that are speaking out and using their voice to say that we demand clemency for Leonard Peltier and that we will not give up and that this fight hasn't been given up for the past 47 years and we will continue until we see freedom and justice for Leonard Peltier. And that is for a fact. Thank you so much. Next, we will have a song by Robbie Romero. Thank you.
You know, we just need to get it up. Is that as high as it goes? Sorry about that. So, check. Can you hear it out there? Can you hear me? Yeah. This is for Leonard. I was born on the reservation in 1973 on a trail of tears. Exiled to the land of the free. In the spirit of crazy horse, and our people buried our wounded knee. Those stanzas thread the period of my mind. Through history, smoke signals of time. As we fight for our lives against those black snakes. Talking about freedom. Freedom for Peltier. I'm talking about freedom. Freedom for Peltier. I was born on the reservation on the fateful Bigfoot ride. Skid cannons ring out, and our men, women, and children died. All in Missouri, the rain of tears our people cry. Across the waters of Sand Creek, when the winds blow cold. Giant river, in a rock stronghold. People lives on, and the struggle of our people unfold. talking about freedom, freedom for Peltier. Talking about freedom, freedom for Peltier. I was born on the reservation in 1909. In a prison of unjust men whose laws are not mine. In the spirit of Coyote and the women on the front line. I was born on the reservation in 1975. In a reign of terror, people trying to survive. In the spirit of Joe Stunts and those that never made it out alive. Yeah, we're talking about freedom, freedom for Peltier. We're talking about